Hello, friends. So I thank the OPG organizers for having me for this meet. So the topic given to me is obstetric sepsis, an overview in obstetric circumstances. So I'll just take you through just an overview because sepsis is a very big topic. So I will talk more related to obstetrics and maternal sepsis. So what are the things that we have learned over a few past decades? So to start off, the whole definition of sepsis has changed. So now we have this new sepsis definition that came out in 2016, which is endorsed, as you see, by 31 societies across the world. Some societies are yet to endorse, but pretty much most societies worldwide have endorsed this definition. So the definition of sepsis, which is even pertinent to obstetric patients, is a life-threatening organ dysfunction. So any patient who has an organ dysfunction which is considered as life-threatening due to dysregulated host response to an organism, to the infection, is called sepsis. So this definition, which is applied to any sepsis in ICU, is also applicable to obstetrics. So there was a consortium sort of a meeting to see if this definition has to be changed in obstetric patients. And what they did mention is the dysregulated host response to the infections pertaining to the puerperum or to the abortion is what they called it as maternal sepsis. So any patient who has SOFA score more than 2, which is sequential organ failure assessment more than 2, carries a mortality of more than 10%. So septic shock is when patient has this life-threatening organ dysfunction due to dysregulated host response, who is needing vasopressors to maintain mean arterial pressure of more than 65, or if lactate is more than 2 millimoles, the mortality becomes greater than 40%. So why this is important is when someone has a sepsis with an organ dysfunction and where SOFA is more than 2, the mortality is about 10%. But once they go into shock, the mortality goes to more than 40%. So as I said, the maternal sepsis is whenever there is an infection that happens which causes life-threatening organ dysfunction, which is related to the delivery of the fetus, puerperium or abortion, is called as maternal sepsis. So, and one of the things that came out of the new definition was the Q-SOFA score, which is a quick way of ascertaining whether any patient would have sepsis. It is more of a screening tool. So any patient who has more than two of these, any of the altered mental status or tachypnea, respiratory rate more than 22, or systolic blood pressure less than 100. So if any two of these are present, at least these patients have to be looked for possible underlying sepsis, and then further investigations have to be done to ascertain and confirm the diagnosis. So for obstetric SOFA score, there is a slight modification. So when you talk about organ dysfunction more than and SOFA score more than 2, so we score it as per this. So if you are looking at a lung involvement, you look at PaO2, FiO2. If you are looking at blood involvement, we have to look at thrombocytopenia. If you are looking at liver dysfunction, we have to look at bilirubin. If you are looking at cardiovascular, we have to look at mean arterial pressure. And altered mental status, we need to look at GCS, and for kidney, we have to look at creatinine. And accordingly, we have to score as to what is the sequential organ failure that exists or prevails. And the most common obstetric, so when we talk about sepsis in maternal or obstetric sepsis, it can be due to obstetric causes and due to non-obstetric causes. The common obstetric cause is the chorioamnionitis, and these are the most frequent pathogens that cause mycoplasma, uveoplasma, and the group B streptococcus. This is followed by endometritis, and these are the organisms that are that are noticed to cause this endometritis. And then septic abortion is the other commoner cause of obstetric sepsis, and in lactating mother, puerperal mastitis also remains. So these are the four common obstetric causes of sepsis, and these are in the order of occurrence is what has been referenced. So when we come to non-obstetric conditions leading to sepsis, the wound infections following, it could be LSCS wound, or it could be due to any episiotomy that is done. So any wound infection is a common cause of sepsis. Group B hemolytic streptococcus or Staph aureus are the common organisms. This is followed by urinary tract infections. And in India, typically we know the UTIs are caused by E. coli or Klebsiella or Enterobacter species. This is followed by respiratory causes. It could be any of the bugs that typically causes respiratory sepsis, followed by GI. So these are in the order of occurrence that cause the non-obstetric sepsis. And so what we have learned about the sepsis pathobiology is, so basically when there is a sepsis, there needs to be a good balance between pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines or inflammatory markers. When there is a overwhelming pro-inflammatory response or overwhelming anti-inflammatory, that is when the organ dysfunction. So that's why we call it as a dysregulated host response. And there are multiple factors which influence the balance of these pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory cytokines. One is the age and the comorbidities the patient might have, and the surgical interventions or any other therapeutic interventions that patient would have undergone also has a bearing on these balance of pro and anti-inflammatory mediators, and the medications the patient may be on. If patient is on a long-term steroids or immunosuppressants and so on and so forth, that will have a bearing on the immune response and the source of infection. So these are some of the identified factors which has bearing on maintaining a equipoise or a balance between pro-inflammatory and anti-inflammatory response to the infection. So when there is no infection, there is usually a good balance. So when there is infection with inadequate innate immunity, then this balance is tipped off. And when this balance is overtly tipped off, that's when the organ dysfunction tends to happen. So let us look now, what is the problem of obstetric sepsis or maternal sepsis? So there was the biggest study that came in 2014. They looked at 416 database from 115 countries, and they collated 60,799 maternal deaths. And here, and they found that the cause for the maternal deaths as sepsis was 10.7%. So when you are looking at the number that contributes to the maternal deaths, it is 10.7% of the patients die because of sepsis. And this came from this surviving sepsis guidelines database group. And 8 to 12% of the sepsis are the cause for obstetric ICU admission. So which means around 10% of the obstetric admissions that happen into ICU is due to sepsis. And the case fatality rate of maternal sepsis is high. It can range from 20 to 40% was some time ago, but now the mortality is slowly coming down because of the increasing awareness of this prevalence of this maternal sepsis. It's coming down to 8 to 14%. And in UK, this particular study showed that 19.5% of the sepsis in obstetrics, because they get unrecognized as they're not managed effectively, they go on to having septic shock, and out of which 1.4% die because of inadequate measures that would have been undertaken. So this has come from this UK study. And the main reason for this maternal deaths due to sepsis is inability or delay in identification or picking up of these patients who have developed sepsis. And there is a non-uniform application of treatment or management practices. So these two have been found as the single most important. Inability to identify that patient is having sepsis and non-standard treatment have been found to be the common cause for deaths that happen. So now when we come to scoring tools in sepsis, so there are three important scoring tools that we need to look at. One is SOFA score, which we'll talk about little in detail. And there are other obstetric scores. There is one called modified obstetric early warning score. So if you look at it, just if you remember this picture, the Q SOFA says altered mental status, respiratory rate more than 22, or systolic blood pressure less than 100. To this, they've added temperature in the modified obstetric early warning score. Then they've added saturation and tachycardia, heart rate. So these are the three things that are added to this SOFA score as indicators to determine modified obstetric early warning score. So what is the validity of this modified obstetric early warning score? So they did a study in UK in 15,027 births, and they found that 6.1% of the sepsis deaths that happened was due to chorioamnionitis. That's why that becomes the leading cause of sepsis in pregnancy. And because they were unrecognized, it led to severe sepsis in 0.5%. The sensitivity of this score, modified obstetric EWS, was 40 to 100%, but specificity was very low. It ranged very widely from 4 to 97%, and positive predictive value was only 2 to 15%. So there's another tool, one which could be applied, which is the shock index, which is the heart rate by systolic blood pressure. 0.5 to 0.7 would indicate that patient is not at a risk for going into shock. But if it is more than 0.9, then there is an increased risk of mortality in these pregnant patients or the maternal sepsis patients. So this is also is sort of studied and used as a screening tool. But the tool that has been more extensively studied and more robust is the SOFA score, because these sensitivity and specificity vary quite widely, but this could be nevertheless used as a screening tool. So this is the modified obstetric early warning score. So as I said, there are 6 parameters as you see, and they have differentiated into normal, yellow, and red. Red means very dangerous and they need to be acted upon immediately in intensive care settings. So let's look into pathophysiology of maternal sepsis. So why the pathophysiology is more complicated in sepsis is because of all the physiological changes that happen in pregnant patients. Because the total body volume or the total blood volume increases to 30 to 50% because of renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system, and inherently or innately there is increase in the heart rate, which compounds pathophysiology of sepsis, and there is increase in the cardiac output and increase in the stroke volume. And cardiac output is known to increase up to more than 50% in patients, in pregnant patients. And there is a lot of changes in the respiratory variables also. So normally in pregnant patients, there is increase in the minute ventilation, increase in the respiratory rate, and there is increase in the oxygen consumption. All these compound and they get into more complexity when these patients develop sepsis. And they have hypoalbuminemia as a normal physiological change, and there is a fall in bicarbonate is reduced in the oncotic pressure, which means to say the possibility of having fluid shifts in these patients is much higher because of the pre-existing reduction of these oncotic pressure, reduction in the hematocrit, and systemic vascular resistance reduces by 25 to 30%, which means their propensity to develop shock is much higher in obstetric patients. So these are the normal physiological changes that happens in sepsis. These get accentuated when sepsis happens in maternal or pregnant ladies. So pathogenesis, and as I said, the commonest cause of puerperal sepsis is chorioamnionitis or endometritis. And when there is abruptio placenta, the placenta becomes an important source because there are these cytokines that are produced and the fetal antigens, which lead to extensive production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, interleukin 2, interferon, IL-117. And there is extensive production of these arachidonic acid, endotoxins, leukotrienes, platelet activating factor, tumor necrosis factor. So all these cytokines are extensively released from the placenta because of the fetal antigen and the antibody reaction. And that can lead to a lot of lung injury, bronchospasm, extensive vasodilatation, and it can lead to activation of this coagulation cascade. And there is a complement activation also that happens, which leads to reduction in C3, C4. And there can be mast cell degranulation also that has been found when there is a abortion or a septic abortion or any of these chorioamnionitis or endometritis that tend to happen. So this is, in essence, the extensive storm that happens in pregnant ladies, especially when there is a uterus and placenta are involved. So now coming to last 2-3 minutes, the hospital mortality in sepsis, it is shown if patient has only sepsis, the mortality is around 20%, 10%. But once they have hypotension with MAP of 65 needing vasopressors, then the mortality goes up to 25%. But if there is hypotension with lactate more than 2, then the mortality goes up by 40%. And intra-abdominal, the statistics remain little similar, 5.5% in sepsis, 19.2% when they have hypotension, and 37.5% when they develop shock where lactate is more than 2. And sepsis mortality has been shown to be proportionate to the SOFA score. As you see, the gray ones is the SOFA score. As the SOFA score, the x-axis is the SOFA score. As the SOFA increases, the more number of patients die. The blue ones are the deaths that are happening. And as the SOFA increases, there is increase in the organ dysfunction also that tends to set in. And it has been shown that change in SOFA score has a direct bearing on mortality. It is shown, this is a study from Canada where they showed when there is a change in SOFA score to more than 2 points during ICU, mortality increases to 22.2%. And it is shown when there is, which means when there is increase in the SOFA score within ICU, the hospital mortality is 40.3 as opposed to patients where there is no increase in the SOFA score. And even ICU mortality increases when there is worsening of organ dysfunction in ICU that happens. And this worsening of organ dysfunction or rise in the SOFA effect lasts 1 to 5 days. So which means to say we should not allow the organ dysfunction to worsen. If there are impending signs of organ dysfunction or organ dysfunction worsening that's happening, then the mortality proportionately increases. So increase in SOFA during ICU is increased mortality. That's why it's very important that we need to reverse this organ dysfunction that may have set in. And it is also shown that if SOFA is coming down, then your mortality is reduced. So if you see here, if SOFA is come down to more than 25%, then your 28-day mortality is 7.3%, as opposed to patients group where SOFA score did not reduce to more than 25%, it was 54.1%. And this lasted out up to 28 days. So when there is no decrease in SOFA score, the mortality is higher. When there is increase in the SOFA score, then the mortality is higher. So, and rate of change in SOFA score also has been shown to be important, because if the, see, this is a study again from Canada where they showed when the score is more than 11, rapid reduction of this score leads to better survival rather than delayed reduction in this SOFA score. And this applied even in patients with score less than 11, which means to say that when the patient is come with a higher SOFA score, if SOFA score is getting better at a much faster pace, their possibility of survival is much better, rather than slow responders where they are taking much longer time for the SOFA or the organ dysfunction to get better or resolve. So rapid improvement leads to better survival. So the take home message, 10.7% maternal deaths are due to maternal sepsis. And these maternal sepsis are the cause of 8 to 12% of obstetric ICU admission. And the mortality in maternal sepsis can range from 14 to 40%. And maternal sepsis can be due to obstetric and non-obstetric causes. And the pathophysiology of sepsis is in pregnancy is a lot more complex than in other population. And it is extremely important to recognize and pick up these sepsis patients much early on to prevent deaths, because the delay in identification of these is shown to be single most important reason of worse outcomes. And for this, we need to apply different scoring, and SOFA has been more extensively studied and validated. So SOFA score is a easy tool that one could apply. And one could also consider modified obstetric early warning score or stroke or the shock index. So any of these scores one could consider. So thank you very much. So I would be happy to take any questions. Thank you all. 2 minutes extra.